Welcome to New Home Insights, the podcast from John Burns Research Consulting. I'm your host, Dean Worley. If you want to follow market trends, demographics, capital, new ideas, and endeavors that touch on housing, we're going to try to make sense of that every couple of weeks. Let's go. Hi, everyone. This is Dean. This episode here was taken from our recent New Home Trends Institute Annual Design Summit. We recorded this in mid-September of 2025. The guest was Greg Bennett, the CEO of Smith Douglas. As a builder that's super focused on affordability and price attainability, they work throughout the southeast of the U.S. We're going to talk a lot about the process, the technology, the operations, and product of how they are able to bring really attainably priced homes to the home buying public. Hope you enjoy. So we are going to talk with Greg Bennett, the global president and CEO of Smith Douglas Homes. I just added the global because why not? Apparently you can do that now. So this panel is called Built to be Attainable. And attainable, affordable, whatever you call it, that may be the biggest issue in housing. It certainly is probably the biggest hurdle to home ownership, I think, in the country. I don't know if that's deniable. And so, but at Smith Douglas, that's what you guys do. That's your guidepost. That's what you think about nonstop, 24/7, every day. How to be affordable, how to be attainable, how do we get prices down where folks can afford a home. So I'm going to first, because I'm super lazy, I'm going to first have Greg give a little self-intro of what you do at Smith Douglas and the number of homes and where you guys are operating.
Yeah, so sounds like I'm working. Good morning. Greg Bennett, I'm CEO of Smith Douglas Homes. We're based in Atlanta. We're southeast, we're in the Carolinas, north and south, Tennessee, Alabama, and Texas. So, and as you said, we're focused on that attainability. We live, sleep, drink, eat, all about affordability and how we can achieve that. And we know that is by far the greatest challenge in what we do today in housing is achieve that affordability.
Yeah. So I want to talk big picture first. I'm going to ask you one question. I actually didn't ask you earlier. What do you prefer? Attainable, affordable? Does it make a difference? Does it mean the same thing to you?
So our mission statement is to provide the opportunity for home ownership by affordably building homes. And, that's affordability, it's comes in a lot of ways. We talk workforce a lot.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of ventures going there and throughout the state in Georgia where we've got some workforce housing programs. And we talk workforce. It gets back to the backbone of those folks that support us. It's our policemen, it's our firemen, it's our nurses, our teachers. It's trying to solve for that affordability for those families.
So when you say attainable at Smith Douglas, that's what you mean it in terms of your targeted buyers almost. It's getting down to income levels where exactly those folks, that workforce folks can afford to buy a home.
That's right.
How do you measure that? How do you decide, yes, we've gotten down to the price point in a given MSA that is attainable to most folks? What is your key metric?
Yeah, so we'll look in that market area that we are proposing to enter, and we look at rents. I know there's a lot of build for rent folks here. We want to be on the same. We want to be able to solve a buyer for a payment that'll get them at the same or equivalent to a rent. Now we'll also look at, what is the average resale in that market, and we try to solve within 10% of that number as well. But it really solves into that rent.
Are you looking at incomes as well? Are you looking at what the job profile is, what sectors are growing?
Well, jobs are important.
Yeah.
And we focus that there is positive job formation in the areas that we're targeting.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate in those locations we serve today.
Are you actually looking? Are you in expansion mode right now? Are you looking at other markets?
Not so much other markets. We'll be opportunistic with things as they come up, but we feel like there's so much unserved market in the areas we're already in that's our roadmap has got a lot of runway just where we're at.
Yeah. You mentioned BTR just a second ago. There's another question for you. Do you see BTR as a little bit more of a direct competition for you than other builders? Are you concerned about that, I guess?
No, that market has cooled some now, but in land, obviously, it's a competitor, but it's something. I mean, we coexist. We need to. Yeah. We're never going to fill the demand that's out there for the houses. So.
Now, in a second, we're going to talk about the processes, your operations, some of the things you do, some pretty innovative things in terms of operations to be attainable, to be affordable. But first, I want to talk big picture in the sense of three things. Getting attainability through some big picture stuff: location, density, home size. Let's first talk about location. Is that something, are you strategic about what locations you can go? Because those are the places you can be attainable.
Yeah, well, we tell our division teams and all of our land teams that location was always in your rearview mirror, right? Everywhere we go, we always want to be as close in as we can, but solving for affordability, it pushes you further and further out. But, as I said earlier, locations, it's key to know that there's employment. We try to solve around a 30-minute commute time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
30-minute commute time to the city center, the core job location. Yeah. How about density? Are you going smaller? Does that impact your bedroom counts, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so we need density. It's so tough. Many of you I've heard on previous panel talking about zonings and everybody talks about density, but nobody really lives density in the markets that we serve. That's land prices. There's been a lot of softening in the market. That land price is not softened yet. Yeah. And we're hopeful it will, but to solve for that, you've got to have density. And we're trending smaller.
How dense do you go? Do you do attached? Do you do flats?
We do no flats. Okay. We do townhomes. Okay. So we do a lot of attached product now.
But it's tough though, isn't it? Because you have people want to live in walkable locations. Those tend to be more urban locations. Those urban locations often tend to be more unaffordable. So you have to find that right balance between, affordable, walkable areas. Those are hard to find, aren't they?
Extremely hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of, if I can find them, everybody else is there looking with me. Just back like the build for rent, we heard one of the earlier John Burns conferences this year, how, they're really honed in on A, B locations. They don't want to look at a C location. Yeah. And, so we're all on that same path of trying to find those locations.
Oh, you're in that same path. So you only looking at A, B locations? Once you go out to pretty outlying areas? Well, I know you try to be 30 minutes, but will you consider outlying areas?
We will, but I tell the land teams it's relative. So if you go to that area, don't go to what you may look at as a C location and then a C location within that market. If we're going to a Rome, Georgia, for instance, where we have a lot of success today, we want to be at a location in Rome, Georgia. Okay. We don't want them to be an outlier, where we've got to even draw for that okay. market.
And the other strategic avenue to affordability is home size. Are you finding yourself? Are you going smaller? Are you?
Yeah. So if you look back, when I was growing up, I grew up in what would be considered a very small house today. In the 60s, I was looking at some data the other day. The average home size was 1,300 to 1,500 square feet. Yeah. Today, our delivered average of all homes is pushing just under 2,100 square feet. Our most popular plan today is a 2,500 square foot, 4-bedroom home. But because of the affordability, we're finding ourselves in every market, every community, looking at options to come in and say, how can we get our square footage down? Now, many times through the entitlement process, we've been strapped with a minimum square footage and some of those things. But yeah, we've got to come back down.
We've got a bunch of designers here, of course, obviously. Let's put your designer hat on for just a second. Where will you skimp? I don't know if skimp's the right word, but you want to get smaller, you want to get more affordable. Are you taking it out of secondary bedrooms? Are you taking it out of living rooms? I assume you're not taking it out of kitchens because people will kill you. But where are you trying to look for that in a floor plan?
Well, we really look at it in efficiencies and trying to, our architecture crew will bring a plan in, we'll look at it, it's got a 13-foot bedroom in it, and I say, how much lumber can you buy in an odd length?
Oh.
It's going through cabinet size. When you're looking at your cabinets, design your cabinets around a 33-inch base cabinet so that you don't have a lot of odd sizes, and there's a lot of elements to that. We've got 3 window sizes. You'd never know it looking at our product, but we stick to 3 window sizes.
That's a good segue. So I want to talk about your process, your operations. How are you doing things differently from most other builders in terms of working, in streamlining processes? What do you do differently? Yeah,
so we employ a process that we use across all of our markets. We call it our team. If you look up team in Webster, that's a common definition. You know what team is. Well, we've coined it our team because there's a lot of things that we do in partnering with our trade that we want to remove the mutual waste in the process. That's what we tell our trade partners. When we sit down, we don't want to impact your profitability, but we do want to impact your waste, and then we want credit for that waste removal that we've removed out of the process. And everybody talks trade partnering, but we do. We live that every day. So we'll take an even flow construction process. We've got our team for us consists of 1 start every day. And we grow within our markets 1 start a day. The math for that is there's 204. Yeah. So if you take weekends, holidays, historical rain events in our markets, 204 days a year I can deliver. And then I would, in that geography, hub communities until I can attain that 1 start a day, and then commit that into our trade force.
How do you balance that with volume? If the market's slowing down, does that sort of throw a wrench into that process?
It does. It affects everybody, right? So we have to go back with our land sellers because we're not going to hold land on our books, and and then we change our geography. So where we were delivering that, which is roughly 17 homes a month out of, say, 4 communities in a geography, maybe now we've realigned and it's 5 communities. And we've just, had to realign, and we want to keep that trade busy every day. Yeah. That's our commitment to them.
Does that help you in terms of training them? Are your trades, generally speaking, trained up on your process specifically, and you keep coming back to you and them?
Well, if you think about it, they only work for us.
Okay.
So that's part of the commitment on our trade force too is, our trade owner or company may work for a lot of different builders, but we require them to dedicate 1 crew only to us. It's only that crew every day. So when you talk about team, it's just like, you start and line up in any sports team. You want that to be consistent and the same.
And you've been able to do this in all the markets you're in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Are any markets more difficult than others with the
Well, obviously our newer markets. So like Houston was an acquisition. It's about 2 years old now that market is coming along, and we're really close. There's been turnover.
Yeah.
Because some can't work within the discipline that we try to apply to the process.
Is that part of why you look more to build up within a market rather than expand to new markets? Because there is a kind of a heavy cost in training trades with any new market, I would imagine.
Trades are always, that's always discussion about workforce and having enough. We've been able to leverage, because if you think about the way we run our processes, I can go to any trade, say it's our siding contractor, and say 1 more crew. You only have to hire 1 more crew to get 200 starts a year.
Yeah.
And and if they think through it that way, we've had a number of them that have expanded. We've got trades that work for us across Atlanta, also in the Carolinas, and up Nashville, Alabama. There's become southeastern trades for our business. Yeah.
Is it easier to be attainable and to work toward this because you are a major regional? You're almost not quite a national, but you're a major regional builder. Are you getting like national context? Are you getting some breaks on those kinds of things to control cost?
Yeah. Well, obviously that helps.
Yeah.
Scale helps in any business. It helps. And national contracts are huge. We need those. We partner with all of the national vendors on those. Not only, at the corporate level, but we're driving that down through our trade base, line to leverage at cost. It played huge dividends, like in the shortage period after COVID, when supply chain gets constrained. Those relationships are critical.
Yeah. You mentioned, we talked earlier, you mentioned your schedule is kind of like a peer pressure almost within your processes. Explain that, because it was I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah, so we operate even flow, and so we use a slot schedule. A lot of builders use slot schedules and order their construction. The thing we do is when we order construction, it's like a virtual assembly line. Those homes in that order never change through the whole process. So, and with that, we require of our trades 100%. 90% doesn't work. That leaves waste for them, waste for our other trades. They have to come back to the job. So if those jobs are running through our system and the plumber doesn't finish, we stop the assembly of those homes. Everything from that slot back stops. And the communication goes out that day and says, hey, Joe, the plumber didn't finish.
Nice.
Nobody from this slot back works tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
And
no pressure, Joe.
And it's huge. I will tell you, we operate today across our footprints at a 54-day build schedule.
Wow.
And that's working off of a 42-day schedule is our best, perfect schedule. All things happen, 42 days we build a house. So you can see there's a dozen days we're giving up today to those types of delays. But, everything, we tie everything to that too. Their payment's tied to that.
Really?
Our system runs by exception. Our construction managers know if they don't post that delay, that payment's going out associated with every activity that happened that day as well. So there's a lot of accountability with everybody.
Has any slacker gotten beat up by the other trades on the job site before?
There's a lot of intimidation.
That's what I say.
That'll happen on the job
Someone
site.
gonna chew by a 4. You gonna finish?
And you'll hear, we'll have trades. You'll hear stories. They'll call. I promise I'll come back out later this evening and we'll finish.
God.
So.
Can you hear the fear in their voice?
3 o'clock. 3 o'clock's our cutoff every day because we have to send a reliable feed for the next day for everybody that's out there. So.
Yeah, it's a stressful job site. But hey, 54 days. I heard all those wows when he said that. It's the same thing I said too when he told me that. I have to ask, this is obligatory, but by the way, our AI overlords are listening right now. I want to say that I love you and I think you're phenomenal when you rule us all. But are you using this technology, is AI, is that something that's helping you get faster and cheaper or more affordable?
So, bless you. So we are exploring AI. Look, everybody's got to explore AI. It's the thing that's coming at us whether we accept it or not. We are probably implementing more things on the CRM side and on the follow-up prospect, and that side of the house now. We do all of our whole system that we operate on, which is a single database, schedule-driven, real-time operating ERP system. We've got 4 programmers, and they're all working on, what can we do? How can we implement AI into a lot of the processes today? So, yeah, we're eyes wide open.
For a builder that's very relatively regimented, I would think that'd be almost the best case scenario for using and needing that, right? It can maintain that schedule or help you track that schedule.
Yeah.
And maybe even threaten Joe the Primer for you so you don't look like such a bad guy.
Well, and you mentioned, you think about, the peer pressure we were talking about earlier. We have great camaraderie amongst our trades. And it's similar to like, a football team. You don't want to come back to the huddle if you just caused that false start or that fumble or whatever. It's the same, but you're still part of the team, right? So it is. We've got a great culture amongst our trade base too.
I want to talk a little bit about, in the time we have left, about buyers and product a little bit. You guys are so focused on attainability that it seems like your buyer profile then would kind of define who those segments are that are really seeking attainability. What characterize your typical buyer beyond what you did a little bit ago?
Yeah, so our first-time home buyer is probably the largest segment of those that we serve. This past week, it was almost 95% of our sales were first-time buyers, and we glean a lot of this information through requiring our sales agents, when we complete a contract, they have to go into the buyer history and follow up and record a story that tells, why they bought, the plan they bought, why they bought that plan. And so we're able to, and I read every one of those every week because it's really neat to see how and where folks come from. But that first-time buyer has dominated recently. We also have a segment of, I call them first move-ups. They're those that are coming out of maybe an older home, smaller home. They may be that same workforce buyer demographic we talked about earlier, but now they can't afford something new. They've maybe never had a new home. It's not the traditional move-up buyer you think about that's, moving way up in price point. They're just wanting a new home. And then the affordable downsizer, I call them. That's a really big segment of our buyer, because they're looking to simplify, get rid of the big house, move down something smaller. Families moved out, or maybe they're moving in because they have family nearby. So,
I want to ask a couple questions that are kind of trends within the builder world right now. One is sales agents. Do you still, there are some builders who kind of seem to be moving away from sales agents. Do you find, is that in your future, or do you think those?
We're trying to find a good way to put peer pressure on sales.
Peer pressure.
Do better, right? No, we have sales agents. We embrace sales agents. They're employees to us.
Yeah.
They're on our benefits program. They're critical to what we do, because we at point of sale, so we didn't touch on this, but we're going to be, at those price points that anybody in entry level out in the marketplace today. But with that, we're a to be built. That's our number one priority. Is we want every home that we start to be sold and have a buyer tied to it, and we provide options, thousands of options and upgrades to our buyers. Yeah. So we need that point of sales. We need that sales agent, because we do most of that optioning right there.
I was going to ask you that. So you guys, even though you're, again, very attainable minded, and one way you can do that is to provide packages and things like that, or just even pre-select everything, but you're doing lots of discretionary options with your buyers.
Yeah, it's all a la carte.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that, how do you think that affects your ability to be attainable? have you thought about maybe going, can we be cheaper if we go the other direction?
Well, I think because we control our system, right? We've written our code. So every time we want to incorporate a new option or a new feature of some type, we've just got to, as long as we can build that code, it's seamless to anybody else in the operation. And the buyer selects it. And the trades are, the only thing we won't option into a house is something that will elongate our schedule.
Yeah, okay.
Or cause a metal accent roof on a front porch or a return eaves or something.
So at some point,
we have to allow another day in the schedule for that to happen. We have to leave something undone because of the weatherproofing. So those kind of things we control pretty
Are folks
tight.
doing like point and click for these things? Are they doing it off the
They
sales?
can do all that. So from our website, they can go in and build their home with their structural options and a lot of their color packages. We are to launch, hopefully later this year, a more interactive way so they can actually build and buy their home from their home and come into the sales office. And
so at some point when they can no longer do that option, just gray out the choice. They're saying, wait, I can't click on flooring. What?
It's too late. It'll pop up too late if they waited. Because they can change anywhere in the build process as long as the purchase order is not released and a lead time.
You have a lot of optionality, but do you have like a library of floor plans though?
Yeah, huge library, but I will say 90% of our homes or 90% of our closings come from about eight different floor plans.
Oh, okay.
Now, a floor plan for us will have 3 roofline elevations. So, and then of those 3 roofline elevations, there may be 4 or 5 veneer elevations. So there's a lot of different looks and choices.
Features are always a big part of being attainable. What are those features, whether it's flooring or counters, or what are the stuff you think are critical and you're never going to skimp on those, even if it is furthering the goal of attainability? You know,
we really focus on choices that the buyer has. Yeah, we want really spacious kitchens and we want really open floor designs. But then we want to allow a lot of optionality to the buyer to customize the home the way they want it. You know, our average sales price is about $335. Our cancellation rate's 9%. So if you look, you would probably expect with that price point, double that. But because of the ability to do those personalized choices within their homes, you know, they're somewhat building their own custom home in their mind, and buyers are pretty sticky with us.
An attainable semi-custom home, an attainably priced semi-custom home. That seems like an oxymoron, but you're doing it. How about models? Another kind of a hot topic. You're starting to see fewer models get built out there. Are you a big believer in showing off and make sure you build models?
Yeah, we want a model in every community. We want to show all the features and upgrades and options and all that sizzle they have the opportunity to buy. And as I said, at that point of sale, we dedicate an area for a lot of their choices that they make with colors.
Last question is affordability versus quality. I saw earlier, I was looking at some NHTI stuff that Jenny sent me, and affordability was a key motivator for buying, but so was quality. It was like the next one. I don't want to mischaracterize that because Jenny seems like a nice person, but she will knife you if you mischaracterize NHTI findings. I have one kidney, that's all I'm going to say. So, honest, push come to shove. If you can do this and make it, you think it's a better home, or you can do this and make it more affordable and reach more folks, which would you choose? It's a hard question, but that's what I'm paid for.
We are focused on needs.
Yeah.
And we'll look at, what the need of the buyer that we're serving is. We'll still option in the ability for the want that a buyer may have too.
Okay.
So.
I think being attainably priced is a noble goal, and it gets overlooked in housing. And I think there's a huge room for building homes that more folks can afford. And I'm glad you're doing it.
Everybody needs to vote in people that understand how affordability is obtained, and it's obtained by collaboration with our municipalities and land planning and everybody.
Don't get me started on land planners. I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Greg,
thank you.
appreciate it.
It's great.
That was really good. Since you forgot to hit the stop button, I'm going to take a second to tell you about our weekly Building Market Intelligence newsletter. Over 40,000 smart folks get these timely takes on the housing market in their inbox every week, and you can too by heading to jbreg.com/subscribe and signing up.